Hi there, this is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, and welcome to my film of the year so far. Now, if you told me at any point in my life my film of the year would feature William Shatner, I would probably tell you to put down the crack pipe, even though does anybody actually smoke crack anymore? It's all crystal meth, isn't it? No. And Oxycontin. Anyway, it would be a shock if the words film of the year and William Shatner were in the same vein. But this is a film from 1966, shot in 1965, and it's Incubus, which just came out in Arrow Video. This is the Blu-ray because I thought there's no point buying the 4K, it's just going to be some cheesy possession film or something from the 60s, but I might actually get it in 4K because it is absolutely gorgeous. This was written and directed by Leslie Stevens, who I didn't realise was the creator of The Outer Limits, and he also did a pilot film called Stone Street starring I Dream of Jeannie star Barbara Eden. And in that pilot, she plays a detective. Well, she would have been a detective in the series, but she's posing as a porn star to investigate the murder of an heiress. Strangely enough, the series never get picked up. This is unusual in a lot of ways. And the most unusual thing about it is it's shot in Esperanto, or the universal second language, the invented language, and it was the second film to be shot in Esperanto. The first one was a French film which was barely an hour, so this is the first feature in Esperanto, because Leslie Stevens thought it's the language of the future, you know, it has no political leanings, everybody will speak it. There's 7 million speakers of Esperanto at the time in 1965 around the world, and this will get to all the Esperanto speakers and it will be a huge success, which of course it wasn't, because, for example, one of the biggest Esperanto speaking communities was in Liberia. Strange enough, they didn't get prints of this small budget horror film to Liberia. Obviously Shatner was in The Intruder, which is a wonderful little film set in the south where Shatner plays a racist agitator who comes to a small town to rile them up. I mean, that's a wonderful performance by the Shatner as well. This is a 4K restoration from the 35mm print by our friends at Le Chat Coiffure in France. Bizarrely, there is no alternate artwork, it's just the same artwork on the inside as well. And there's a booklet. I mean, the film instantly gave me Bergman vibes, one of these more pastoral films like The Virgin Spring perhaps, and it's helped by the fact that the female lead is played by Leslie Stevens, it's not played by Leslie Stevens, it's played by Alison Ames, who's Leslie Stevens' wife, and Alison Ames looks like a cross between Ingrid Thulin and Bibi Andersson, two of Bergman's most famous muses, and it also gives you a wonderful feeling of black and white Bava, Mario Bava, obviously, not his son Lamberto. Like Lamberto ever did a black and white film, did he? But the cinematography is by Hall of Fame cinematographer Conrad Hall, who did American Beauty, Fat City, Marathon Man, Electra Glide in Blue, Cool Hand Luke and Cold Blood, Road to Perdition, Day of the Locust, Hell in the Pacific, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, The Professionals, and countless other films. So there's a reason I might actually pick up in 4K as well, because the cinematography is absolutely gorgeous. It's quite stunning. So Leslie Stevens gave the actors the script in English, and William Shatner was very pleased to get it as a good script. And then before filming, he said, "I've got a surprise, we're going to shoot it all in Esperanto." And of course none of the actors could speak Esperanto, but they are speaking it in the film, even though they might not know whether they're actually speaking it correctly or the other actor is speaking it correctly. So it does have this wonderful, weird atmosphere. I should say, when I say this is the film of the year, this isn't going to be the film of the year for everybody. It's very much in the California Gothic tradition, even though it's not set anywhere. It's kind of set in the world of Esperanto, maybe. It's kind of simpler times, so it's kind of set in the past, I would say. William Shatner and his sister live in the middle of nowhere. He's a recovering soldier from some war. And after we're introduced to the character of Kia, who is a woman who we get in the first 5 minutes of the film luring a man to his demise in a very beautiful and striking way. Kia, who we learn is a succubus, not an incubus, a succubus, the female version of the demon. She's tired of leading bad people to their inevitable fate, so she wants to pick on a good person. Enter William Shatner. So Kia turns up in Shatner and his sister's life, and strangely enough, Shatner is taken by her, but the other sisters, the other sister demons, aren't very pleased that Kia might be falling for Shatner. I mean, who wouldn't? So they raise an incubus. Now the actor who plays the incubus is credited as Miloš or Miloš Milošević, who, the fact that he's playing a demon is kind of fitting, because apparently he had an affair with Mickey Rooney's fourth wife while Mickey Rooney was out of the country, and ended up killing Mickey Rooney's fourth wife and himself. So who knows, maybe in real life he was an incubus. So it's just a very strange film that I kind of fell in love with, the same way I fell in love with Messiah of Evil when Radiance released it last year. So I think this was released in Blu-ray in 2011 by Severn. It was DVD in 2001, but this was the first time I'd ever seen it. And it is, I mean, there's lots of walking through forests. I mean, it's only 74 minutes. It could have been a little bit tighter, but it feels longer than 74 minutes, but not in a bad way. But it still could have been a little bit tighter. But when you get the presence of the Shat, it's difficult to take your eyes off the screen, especially with the cinematography. The cinematography is absolutely gorgeous. There's things in it that would predate, you know, the Gothic horror, because Gothic horror 1965, 1966 didn't actually exist, or folk horror, sorry. Obviously Gothic horror existed a long time before that, but folk horror didn't really, or that term didn't exist until those three British films later on in the 60s. So this kind of prefigures a lot of things. There's a wonderful goat performance which prefigures The Devil Rides Out a couple of years later. It prefigures obviously Robert Eggers' The Witch, which also has a wonderful goat performance. But the goat performance in this is quite impressive. It's just a beautiful, strange, odd film, and the fact that it's in Esperanto just kind of makes it even more bizarre. But as I said, it's a 4K restoration, but I still might accidentally buy the 4K because there's 3 commentaries. So there's a new audio commentary by writer and genre historian David J. Scow, author of The Outer Limits, the official companion. There's an archive audio commentary by William Shatner from 2001, I believe, which I've listened to a bit of, which is very good. He's being serious. There's archive audio commentary by producer Anthony Taylor, cinematographer Conrad Hall, and camera operator William Fraker. There's an alternate 3:7:1 presentation of the film. There's a brilliant piece, Words and Worlds, Incubus and Esperanto in Cinema, a newly filmed interview with genre historian Stephen Bissett, which is absolutely fantastic. I think that's at least half an hour, and it's really interesting and really wonderful. There's Internacia Lingvo, a history of Esperanto, a newly filmed interview with Esther Skor, author of The Bridge of Words, Esperanto and the Dream of a Universal Language, which I haven't watched yet. An interview with the makers of Incubus, an archive interview by Scow with Taylor, Hall and Fraker, and there's a trailer. So if you're into your California folk horror, if you're into your goats, if you're into the Shat, this is absolutely wonderful. It just has all these strange elements. It's Bergman, Bava, Shatner in Esperanto. I mean, what more could you possibly ask for in your film of the year? So thanks very much for watching. Please let me know if you've seen Incubus and what you thought of it, and how mad I am for calling it the film of the year. And hopefully you'll join me again if a film could possibly trump Incubus. Maybe Incubus 2, Succubus. But for the time being, this is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, saying farewell.